Hi S3, how are you doing? How was your first week of online learning? If you're anything like me, you're probably finding it a bit of a change. There's lots of challenges with getting used to doing things differently in a short time. So I'm sure we're probably all finding that together. But if we just keep working together, if you keep letting me know if you're stuck with anything, if you get any questions, we'll sort it out and make the best of it. And I'm sure we'll be back in the classroom together soon. Now, first of all, of mice and men. I told you we were going to be moving on to the Curly's Wife essay. We are going to be doing that, but we're going to do it next week. I'm pushing it back slightly. And part of the reason is that there were a few people who were in the situation where they hadn't been able to get it done before school. And with the online learning, before school finished, and with the online learning and everything, I really want to have all of them marked and back to you before we start talking about the Curly's Wife essay. So we're just going to push it back 1 week just to make sure that everyone's had a chance to have lots of feedback on that. That might be good because you might enjoy the tasks that we're doing this week. Just don't forget about Mice and Men. We are going to return to it. The next unit of work that we were due to be moving on to anyway is going to be a unit on personal writing. Now, personal writing is important. It's part of the National 5 English course. And in the National 5 English course, 30% of your overall mark comes from your portfolio. That's 2 essays that you write, and you get write them in class, you get a chance to redraft them, and then they get sent away to the exam board. And typically one is a piece of personal writing and one is a kind of more persuasive or discursive piece. Now, most people who send their work away in normal times, in non-COVID times, will send away a piece of personal writing that they write in 4th year. But sometimes, for all kinds of reasons, people send away the piece of writing that they do in 3rd year. We've just had a couple of very strange years, for example. So we're going to be doing a piece of writing, and we want everyone to really do their best at that. And sometimes people find that they really enjoy this unit. It's on the topic of school days, so some of the tasks that you're going to do to begin with are about school days. You're going to have to think back, not really just now, but more primary. The piece of writing that you're going to do at the end of the unit is going to be about a favourite primary school teacher. I say teacher, a favourite person from primary school, a favourite adult. In the past, I've sometimes had pupils write wonderful essays about janitors, or sometimes somebody else, maybe a classroom assistant who worked in the school, but an adult who worked in the school. Now, you'll have to really cast your mind back. Sometimes when I tell people we're going to write about this, people are like, I can't remember, and it takes a little while. So I'm going to recommend that if you can, you find a quiet place. I know that's not easy for everyone, but if you have a try, and maybe think about this for a while, even before you start any of the tasks, and try and cast your mind back a little bit and try and put yourself into that primary school headspace. Think about all those kind of sensory memories, the things that are a bit different about primary school, the sights and the sounds and the smells. I remember things like the plastic trays that we used to get for lunch, the smell of Play-Doh, with everyone having their own tray that we used to put all our jotters and pens and things like that in. I remember my favourite primary teacher. Her name was Mrs. Heron. I was very, very lucky because she was my teacher in primary 3 and primary 5 and primary 6, but she was my favourite teacher. She would always have us sitting in different groups named after different animals, and you always had the chance to compete for points every week. And she was just such an interesting person. The things that she taught me about, I remember particularly she enjoyed teaching things about history, so she told us all about Mary Queen of Scots, and she told us about the Jacobite Rebellion. And I still remember all those lessons really, really clearly. When some of the things that I learned in my other years at primary school have kind of evaporated over the years, they still really stand out in my memory. So think about somebody who meant a lot to you, somebody who you still remember. And as I said, maybe spend some time just trying to think and cast your mind back before you start tackling some of these tasks. You can maybe do the first one if you like. That's when we just have to watch a video and answer questions, but after that you'll want to have a little think. The imagery questions that I gave you to do were to kind of help with this unit, because when we go on and actually do the writing, we're going to want you to include a lot of imagery, and further down the road we're going to look at a poem that involves an awful lot of imagery. So it's to get you thinking about all of these topics. Hopefully you'll really enjoy thinking about this. We're thinking about maybe a happier, simpler time at school, which is maybe nice to think about at the moment. As I said, we'll be going back to have Mice and Men and Curly's Wife next week. One last thing to add, I've scheduled, this would be a week B in school normally. You would be in English just periods 1 and 2 on Thursday. And I've scheduled a meeting in Teams for that time. Now, I'm not expecting everyone all to come on at 9 o'clock, but it's kind of a drop-in session. If you have got any questions or uncertainties, for example, if you get your mark back for Mice and Men and you want to ask me about it, or you're not sure about something with imagery, or you're stuck with the homework, then you can just pop on at any time in the hour and a half for 5 minutes and ask me a question. You don't need to put your camera on. You can also just come on and say hello if you want to, or tell me what you've been reading. I would love to hear about what you've been reading. Have you been reading? Please be reading. I'm reading Shuggy Bain just now. It's fabulous, right? I told you about that, so you should be reading. And, you're stuck in the house. What else do you really have to do? Okay? All right. I'll hopefully see some of you on Thursday. Easiest way to submit work is uploading a document on Teams. On the assignment, just click on the assignment and upload a document. If it's going to be a picture of your jotter, that's fine, but make it a clear picture. And you can send me messages on Teams if you have them. Maybe I'll see some of you at the drop-in session on Thursday if you've got any questions. Okay, hopefully see you soon. Take care.